Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Now this was a crazy war. We went up against DSVG. They are perennially just an incredible alliance, and whenever we face off against them, we always call it the Savage Squad Cup. You've probably seen some videos on this war already. It was very, very close, and just have mad respect for everyone that we are fighting. Like Munash, for example, is the first defender that I'm going up against here, and he's one of the best players in the game for sure. So yeah, just props to DSVG, and I hope that you guys have an incredible season. We're starting off with Nebula here. This was right after the mastery swaps were stopping to be free, and I'm quite low on units. There will be a video about that a little bit later in the week. I was doing some chitinous challenges and things got a little dicey. But I was looking at all the fights that Nebula had to take this war, and I didn't think that she needed recoil, so we brought in the Proxima Synergy, and this is going to be a pretty standard fight. It has static defense, which means we will be taking shock damage, but we are shock immune, so it's no issue. And I figured going up against an opponent with class advantage, that all we would have to do is that, and he goes down. So this war was kind of crazy because it lined up for me to take 6 Nebula fights. I took all 3 fights on Section 1 and Section 2 and 1 mini-boss. The only fight that I didn't take with Nebula was actually with a 5-star Venom. And again, that might be related to the fact that my Mole Man was locked in the Abyss. So yeah, again, video about that coming out a little bit later in the week. Oof. So here's Longshot. This has Hurt Locker, but if we're only planning to throw 1 special 2, Hurt Locker is not going to really matter. His heavy attack is a little annoying in the corner, so I did have to practice it. I just wanted to make sure I didn't mess that up as I was building my charges, but he plays right into us there. We're able to re-parry perfectly, transfer the charges. Having that Proxima Synergy I think is more valuable than the Guillotine 2099 Synergy because it's just holding block to get 10 charges. If you use Advanced Power Boost, you're good to go. Transfer it over and they die. We didn't have to worry about any of his annoying stuff, his special 2, Pure of Heart, any of that. We just transfer the shocks and he's over. So it lined up great. Now we've seen Man-Thing on this node 20 so many times this season. They're giving us iHulk. I have taken iHulk before on masochism node, I think. This just has the additional stuff like the static defense and the strike counter, so we have to be careful about the Furies. My game plan is the same as Man-Thing though. We're going to bait the heavy in the corner, we're going to heavy counter, and then we're going to deliver the final blow. A few things worry about me with this fight. It's how much health he has and that I'm not running recoil. I'm actually worried that the finishing blow will not finish him. So here we go. We bait, we heavy counter, we proc masochism, we let the shocks tick a little bit, we throw the special 2, and we pray, and not quite enough. But he's so low, there are no strike counter Furies, that at this point it's not going to be that hard to finish him off. I figure I already practiced doing it exactly this way. We're going to do it the exact same way. We proc that, we get the masochism, we transfer the shocks over, and I just let the shocks themselves tick down. So I just kind of went with muscle memory there. I probably could have just hit him a few times and thrown a special 1, but I was like, hey, I practiced that move in the corner. It seems to work really well. We want to do damage over time against him so that he doesn't get too much gamma and he goes down. So the fact that there was no unstoppable armor on that fight really made it a lot easier. Even though he might be a scarier opponent, I don't think it was too big of a deal, and we did absolutely fine. So that was fun. It was nice to see a non-Man-Thing person there. And now we're on path 3. Just so often Nebula just slots onto path 3 and completely counters all the nodes. This is Hulkbuster. I have taken Colossus here before, and I think Hulkbuster's a little bit more annoying. He's got the unblockable specials. The armors, I don't fully know when one of them might proc, so we do have to worry about stuff like unstoppable armor a little bit more than with Colossus. He's just tankier. He also has offensive ability reduction, so I like this placement a lot better than Colossus. But even so, with chitinous thorns, we're just supercharging our amp charges. I'm doing the same thing that I do with Colossus, which is like parry, short combo. Right there, unstoppable armor. I'm very lucky that I didn't get punished there because I wasn't paying attention enough. But we're not going to even worry about the special 2. We're just building up our charges, transferring over the shocks, and just letting the shocks kill him. right there. Again, I don't know why I'm punishing Unstoppable. I should have gotten smacked in the face there. That's just whatever. I got lucky. Sometimes being lucky is better than being skilled, right? So right there, our offensive ability accuracy was reduced because of his armors and such. So yeah, there's just a little bit more to keep track of there. But ultimately, Nebula gets it down. There's not much to say about that fight because the chitinous thorns and the cutting wires node is sort of like a cheat code for her. But yeah, I definitely could have played that better, and I definitely got lucky a couple times with getting punished. And I do respect the placement because obviously I put my guard down a little bit and almost got punished a couple times. But Nebula still lives. We move on. Now this is a fight that I've used Mole Man on before. However, for this, I think Venom, even though he's a 5-star, is literally a perfect counter. This has explosive personality. It has Hurt Locker. If we accidentally get some armors on her from the explosive personality, we can either nullify them with our special 1 or use an armor break. So that completely turns off that part of the node. She's never going to evade. Even with the increased evade ability accuracy, there's just no chance because Venom completely flatly turns it off. So we're going to throw a special 2 first because I'm looking at my buffs. Venom's buffs are mostly defensive at this point. So I think it's a good time to bait a special 2 and throw a special 2 to convert those all into Furies. Just waiting for a good opportunity to do so. And we're going to throw it here. And even a 5-star is just doing a lot of damage there. It's really nice. Bait the special 1. And I guess, wait, this doesn't have Hurt Locker. Man, I'm out of the zone today. I thought this had Hurt Locker, but I guess it doesn't. So now we're just baiting specials. We can throw another special 2 kind of as a finishing blow. And this is just about going to do it. And that's the end of Spider-Gwen once the bleeds tick her down. So yeah, again, this was all Nebula all the time. We just kind of needed somebody there. There would have been some other options on my team, like Professor X as a rank 3, but I just thought Venom was so safe, and I'm very comfortable with Venom that it was the way to go. All right, so next up, more Nebula action. This is node 46. It has Buffet, it has Chitinous Thorns, it has Strike, Counter, Combat Power Rate. So she's going to turn all of that off as she usually does. I'm just going to reiterate the 2 things that can make this fight go wrong that I've seen people mess up, that I have messed up on the off season. First of all, make sure that you're over 2 bars of power before transferring over your shocks, because as soon as you transfer them over with a parry, you lose your ability accuracy reduction, and then if you cross a bar of power, you're going to get special locked by Nimrod because you are no longer turning that off. So you have to watch, you have to get yellow first, and there we are, we get yellow. We bait. The next thing is look at both of those timers and make sure that they have plenty of time on them. So I'm looking, both of those timers have plenty of time. I know that I can safely throw this, and then he's going to go down in no time, and that's enough to get him down. The reason you wait out those 2 timers is because one of them is unstoppable armor, so you don't want that to be proccing when your guard is down, when you lose your ability accuracy. Additionally, the other one is his protocol changes, and whenever he changes protocols, he gets a random armor, which will give you the unstoppable proc potentially. So just look at both timers. You don't need to know which is which. Just make sure they're both have plenty of time before you transfer over, and you're always good. And finally, there's one more robot that we have to kill, and it's Dragonman. This is on this safeguard node, and basically as long as we're over 5 amp charges, he doesn't even get his power charge at the start. The ability accuracy reduction basically starts before the fight even starts at all, so he will never gain his power charge. This also turns off Mystic Dispersion, so you'll see that we never, even if we proc a Dex and we hit him, he's never going to gain power. I think it's just incredible that Nebula can turn off Mystic Dispersion as well. The other thing she's turning off here is actually the Safeguard node itself. That is subject to ability accuracy. So we're not doing a ton of damage per se, but we are noticing that anytime we crit, our basic hits are going to be able to get through Safeguard. They're not doing a ton of damage, but like we did with the Ultron Mini in the last war, the goal here is going to be to get to the special 3 and do the special 3 rotations. You know, we don't have the recoil tree on again because the mastery swaps were not free, so I didn't want to be switching on and off. But here, I don't really think there's much going on in this fight because the scariest things about Dragonman are really the power gain, the mystic dispersion, but those are both turned off. And here we go. So we're going to throw our special 3 after he throws the special 1. We just have to bait it out. There we go. He was a little stingy with that thing. We're going to hit him once and then go into the special 3. So this mode is called Weapon Overcharge. We've talked about it a lot on this channel. It's one of the nicest things they've done when they updated her kit. It allows her to build shocks. Now, I did accidentally parry there, but we build up to our number 5 charges very quickly, and it's not the end of the world. We just transferred over some shocks. They did some extra damage. It's fine. Because we had already turned off the power charges, it was never going to come back. And if we had a higher SIG Nebula, you would be seeing her combat power rate being a little bit better here, but ours is only SIG 20. So that might be something to work on in the future, because having the higher combat power rate means that we may be able to go special 3 into special 2 and just finish him off that way. But we're just playing it safe. There's no reason to feel like we're at risk. And then right there, I just decide to end this thing. I transfer over the shocks and do the special 2. And that's the end of him. So maybe I prolong the fight a little bit more, but I think it's fine. We got it down safely, and we were losing on time anyway, so it wasn't the end of the world. So that was a great war. 6 Nebula fights, 7 fights total, a couple mini bosses along the way. We ended up winning this war 3-2. We only died twice. Battle Group 3 had a donut again. We didn't die even one time. It was down to the wire. The score was 3-2 with a lot of fights left, and both teams completely clutched it out. I've never been part of a war with so few deaths. I think it was probably one of the most competitive wars of the entire season for all of Tier 1. Just absolutely incredible performances. But this did skyrocket us into the top 10 of Masters, and we have a 6-3 record, which is a really, really good position to be in going into the final week of Alliance War. So I'm very proud of the group. I'm very happy with the way BG3 has been operating, especially with DLL doing the plans, with me doing the defense, and just the teammates being so strong and willing to try new things and just going into fights confidently and getting the job done. It's been absolutely amazing. So we'll see you a little bit more next week when we get the final wars. Hopefully we can clinch this Masters. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.